well, we're going to go ahead and get things started.
Okay.
Welcome to the Grand Prairie Police Department GPPD podcast. It's your girl, Whitney. I am the amazing visiting co-host. And as you can see, I'm a little bit solo today, but that's okay. I don't know where KD and Nate is, but I'm pretty sure what they're doing right now is amazing. I have an awesome person here with me today. Chancey?
Yes.
So excited to have you here. Before we get into your story, of course, we got to talk about some things.
Okay.
So here at the police department, there are some ways that you can get on with us by coming out, checking us out, doing a test. So our next test date is March 1st. So for those that are listening, if you're tuning in, viewing us, check us out online. I always stay up to date, grandprairiepolice.org. That way you can see what's going on within our department. Check us out. You're going to hear from Chancey today. Maybe he's going to inspire you. I'm not sure. We'll just see how it goes. We're just going to flow with it, okay?
Cool.
Well, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. You know, we were chatting about we had a run-in just not too long ago with the door and coming through the building together. I've never met you, but I'm meeting you now. Now I get to know all about you.
I like it. Yep.
Yeah.
And I get to learn about you and what you do. So we've already talked about that. That's good.
Yes. Yeah.
Resources.
Absolutely.
I like it. Yep.
So before we get too much into what you're doing now, tell us just in general, like about yourself, where you're from, things like that.
Okay. So I was born and raised in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Joined the Army when I was 17. Did that for a little bit. Got married. My wife was still in the Army. So she PCS'd to Germany. So then we lived in Germany for about a year. I was a military spouse, if anyone in the military knows that.
Yeah.
I got yes.
My husband was in the military, so yeah.
So you're a military spouse.
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
There we go, yes. It's a great job of being a military spouse.
You know, we have to support and be there. We
do.
lived on base, so
It's a hard job.
It is.
Yeah, I actually worked for MWR for a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's
it
cool.
was fun. But and then she got pregnant, so they actually gave her the option to ETS, so she got out. We moved back to her hometown, Kansas City, for a couple years. So I went to school, and then moved to North Carolina, where some of my family was. I ended up getting a job out there with the Asheville Police Department. So that's kind of where I started law enforcement.
Oh.
And then, I ended up out here.
Wow. I mean, to hear that history and then the military aspect too, and now hear your present day law enforcement, I think that kind of flows well. So I'm really curious as we go back and kind of walk through your life and what got you here. That's going to be really cool to talk about. All right. So take us back to the young Chancey. I'm sure you didn't go by the little Chancey, but just tell us about maybe some things that you can. Upbringing, childhood. What was that like? Did you think about law enforcement, military, or is that just...
Yeah, I always had, I don't know why, I just always had the inkling to get into law enforcement and the military. I had a lot of family in military. No family in law enforcement, so I don't really know. I don't know where that came from.
Right.
But it was there. I mean, good family upbringing. I was actually homeschooled as well as my siblings.
What was that like? I hear so much about it now, and more people are going back to homeschooling.
They are.
But as a child that went through homeschooling, what was it like for you?
So I didn't like it.
Okay.
Just from the social aspect of it.
Okay.
You know, like my one good friend in the neighborhood, he went to school. So, it was always just me waiting for him to get off school.
Right.
Because in homeschool, like anyone that homeschools knows, it doesn't take that long, You're done in a couple hours. So like I would just ride my bike everywhere.
Wow.
Which is a good segue to what I do now.
Yeah.
But I get paid for it now.
There you go.
So coming out of it, I really didn't like it. But now that I have a kid, she actually homeschools now. So, we're kind of coming full swing back.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Like all the people homeschool, it's like really taken off now. It used to be kind of a fringe thing, I feel like. But now it's like, it's pretty normal.
And
I
always hear of different like co-op opportunities and groups that go together and sporting teams and things of that nature. So I would just say it has evolved since that time. So.
Yeah. Different states have different laws. Like growing up in Florida, like we could join like public school sports teams.
Really?
So like I played baseball and stuff like that with the local school. Here in Texas, it's different. You can't do that yet.
Okay.
There's some weird. I was talking to a homeschool lady the other day about it. She knew more about it. There's some bill they're trying to pass, but it has some stipulations with it, so they kind of don't like it. But yeah, it's an interesting realm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, look at that. We're talking about homeschooling. Yeah. Okay. Not just police work, but homeschooling too. See?
Yeah, it's a big part of it.
Yeah. Okay, so you're growing up, awesome childhood. You had people like family-wise, military. So by the time you reach high school, is anything changing in your life? Is it pretty much consistent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then are you still in Florida at that time?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you get here to Texas?
Oh, geez. I've lived in probably 5 different states.
Oh, okay, because of the military. Is that
Well, no,
even
it was just moving.
Oh, okay,
School,
okay.
jobs.
Okay.
I used to have a buddy out here, so I would come out here about once a year, and then he put me on to Grand Prairie. And then I looked at Grand Prairie, and I was like, oh, my goodness, y'all make double out here. And they like the police out here.
Hear that, people? Okay,
Yeah.
so salary was something.
Yes, salary, better culture.
Yeah.
Better law enforcement culture. So, yeah.
Okay. Wow. And to hear about that, is it like word of mouth? Was it people were posting online, or you just having conversations with people and they were just open?
He just randomly sent me a link that said, hey, Grand Prairie's hiring. I didn't know anything about Grand Prairie.
Really?
I knew an older guy out here that retired from Tarrant County, and he said Grand Prairie was a good agency. So I was like, all right, anything's better than what I was coming from at the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you have any, preconceived notions about coming to Texas as a state, or just some people outside of Texas have these certain views on Texas? Did you have any of that?
They do. I guess I kind of did. It's changed since then. Yeah. But, yeah, I probably did.
Okay. Because I know before we started this, I mentioned or maybe it was just during, we were talking about military. So when we lived with my husband, when he was active duty Army, we were in Colorado. And so many people asked all these different, just more so like cultural type questions about Texas. And it seemed more they were focused on like Western and horses. Growing up, I would go to Chicago where my dad is from, and they would really think that everyone has horses, and that's how we go to cows, or you're into farming, not.
Oh, that's what my wife thought coming out here, because she'd never been out here. So she thought we were just living out in like the suburbs or the boondocks, and then she drove through DFW, and she was horrified.
It's the city.
Yeah, she never lived in a big city like that. Like, I grew up in South Florida, so it's very similar to this, So I was used to it. I didn't like it. I don't like it, but I was used to it, you know, where she had like kind of a culture shock that way for a little while.
Okay. So. Now, how did you meet your wife?
We actually met in Iraq.
Really?
Yeah. So
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I had I was in an infantry unit, so we were on a company-sized patrol base, and then she was a cook, so they rotated the cooks through. That's how we met. Okay. And it developed from there.
Going through the cook line, like, was she? I don't know. You looked at her, she looked at you, like,
I guess.
I want some extra rice. I don't know.
It worked out. Yeah. We've been married to be 16 years in January.
Wow, so, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
And you joined right after high school. Like, you just went from high school to straight.
Yeah. So how it worked out is I found out later on that I guess the curriculum we used, there's something wrong with the state. I don't know. But anyway, so I couldn't get a high school diploma at the time, so I could just get a GED. So I was like, what's the point of doing 12th grade?
Yeah.
Why not just get your GED?
Yeah.
So it worked out. I was a little annoyed at that. Another thing that kind of teed me off for homeschooling at the time. But looking back, I'm like, all right, that was pointless. Like, it doesn't matter. So, I was able to get my GED, and that's what enabled me to enlist at 17 instead of went to 18.
Yeah. What was that like? Was there a big adjustment going from homeschooling environment to now you have enlisted?
It was kind of eye-opening. Yeah.
And all the other people now that you're around, the cultures. Yeah.
You're kind of going from that kind of semi-sheltered homeschool life to like the infantry world of all worlds, Yeah. It's a little rough and tough, but it was a good eye opener. It was a good experience in the end. Yeah.
Did you have an idea of what MOS you wanted to do, or okay? So you already knew this was whatever your MOS that you wanted to do. Okay.
Brainwashed kid. I don't know why. But yeah.
And you tested. You got like that first time. You didn't have to go back. You didn't have to try to work with a recruiter over and over things. You got it done.
No, ASVAB score's pretty low for the infantry, so it don't matter.
I'm just getting it.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, so what was your first duty station?
Fort Drum.
Okay. And then how was that?
It was actually pretty fun. That was my first time seeing snow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that was a place my husband didn't want to go to, was Fort Drum.
Really?
So,
Okay.
yeah,
I actually
even though
kind
we
of liked
ended up in
it.
Carson. Yeah.
Yeah.
With snow.
Yeah. It was fun. So yeah, so I was 17. I remember walking out for PT one morning, and there was like 6 inches of snow, and I was like, "Holy cow, what is this?" But it was fun. I loved it.
And
Yeah.
Florida is hot. I'm just.
Hot and humid.
Then you're doing PT.
Yep.
And it's cold.
Yep. It was fun though. I liked it. I still
Really?
like it. I'd still prefer the
Really?
cold over the heat.
Interesting. Okay. So you're at Fort Drum.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, are you only just still focused on military? Or are you open to other things after? Like, what are you kind of, I guess, mind-wise, what's your mindset during that time?
Yeah, I don't think I had any dreams of doing a career of it or anything like that.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. All right. And then I'm just curious, by the time you met your wife, had you changed anything mindset-wise military, or was it still kind of just, I'm in the military?
Oh, by then I was just ready to get out.
Oh.
By then I was stop loss, so yeah, I didn't care about nothing.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then what happened, like, I guess, after that? Like, after Drum, what are some of the things that you started doing that was, I guess, different, or maybe heading towards, okay, I think I'm going to be leaving, so what's my next thing? Like, after
As far as like
Drum?
getting out of the military?
Yeah.
Geez, I don't think I really had a plan, to be honest with you. It was just get out.
Yeah.
I had a pretty bad attitude by then. So.
Man, so did you have people, I don't know, either pouring into you or just kind of talking with you or trying to encourage you on some other ideas? Or did you just kind of figure it out on your own?
I think at that point in time, like I got out and so I was like ETSing in late 08. There wasn't a whole lot. It was kind of just, hey, go make your appointments. We had a couple, I remember being forced to go to like a couple like seminar type things where guys would actually come in from the civilian world talking about jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But again, I think my attitude was so poor at the time that I was a very angry dude at the time.
Okay.
And yeah, I just probably didn't have the right attitude.
Yeah.
I mean, I think some good assets came in. I just didn't use
Take advantage
them.
of those or utilize what you have, the resources.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So fast forward now, law enforcement comes about. How was that testing, the transition? What was all of that like for you?
Man, North Carolina was hard. So North Carolina, so I went through just like the normal community college academy where you just have to get sponsored. So I got sponsored by the county, went through the academy, no problem there. But in North Carolina, you only have a year once you get certified to get sworn. Otherwise, you lose it and you got to go through the whole academy.
The whole thing again?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and I think I went 11 months before I got sworn.
Really?
Yeah. Like I was just applying anywhere and everywhere.
How many, did you have a count? Did you keep,
I lost count.
Whoa.
I mean, it was probably at least 30, probably.
And you're doing the personal history statements and just.
Every time, yep. Filling them out. Yeah.
Man.
Couldn't even get like a interview. Nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. And then finally, I think I applied with Asheville in January, and it was like October. They like randomly, and by then I'd given up. So I'm like, all right, what are we gonna do? Like I got a kid by then.
Yeah.
We've been going to school using our GI Bill, but that's gonna run up. Like, what are we gonna do? And then like out of the blue, they just sent me an email like, hey, you still interested? I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so they asked, are you interested? You respond, yeah. And then, walk us through that process, because now you got to start training and everything, or is it a little bit different since you already did your academy?
Yeah, so I was already, certified. I forget what they call it, but basically a peace officer out there. So, yeah, all I had to do was go in and do, the oral board and the polygraph and all that stuff. And then, so that once I got that going, it was pretty quick. It was like a month or two.
Oh, really? Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then, explain to me maybe what the culture is there. Maybe in comparison to here. Is it similar or is it completely apples and oranges? So what was that like?
Totally different.
Really?
Yeah.
How so? Yeah. If you can talk about
it. I can't speak for everywhere.
Right.
I can only speak for where I worked.
Yeah.
I've always heard Asheville referred to as like a small Austin. So maybe that helps people kind of figure out the political views and the culture and stuff. So we were not very well liked.
Yeah.
We had a lot of issues. Huge homeless problem out there. You want to think of it because it's a big tourist town.
I wouldn't think of that at all.
They hide it well, but it's huge problem out there. Just a lot of issues. The department had issues. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So
Wow. Now, how there, as far as homelessness, how is it law enforcement? How are they able to, I don't know, maybe that community approach? Was there a specialized unit that
So we didn't really like have any of that when I worked there. It was
Really?
there's nothing. It was kind of like, there's the cops, there's the
Yeah.
homeless, and then you had like the homeless coalition that would always complain to the city council when we
Yeah.
tried enforcing anything, and then city council would complain to the chiefs, and then it would come back to us like, hey, stop enforcing. So it's just kind of this
Wow.
like endless circle. So yeah, there weren't really any like I'm seeing that here where we have
Yeah.
actual like long-term
Yes,
solutions.
some
There
intervention.
were no long-term solutions. It was just sustainment, you know. And we had
Really?
the reason they're all there is because we had all the resources. Like we had all the shelters, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
they would come from states away. It was like I would always make a point to ask them like, "Where are you from?"
Yeah.
Whenever I came, and it'd be like California, all these crazy places. And I'm like, how'd you end up here? And they're
Right.
like, oh, we heard it was a cool place to be here. I'm
It's
like,
just-
okay.
Wow.
Like, that's weird.
Yeah, so the address is transient. Like, that's
Yes.
all you would write
yeah.
down.
Yeah, a lot of transients, like legit transients, like
Yes.
passing through and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It was very odd. It was a weird place, but
Wow.
beautiful place. We're up in the
Yeah.
mountains.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it.
I really would not have thought
Yeah.
of homelessness once you said and explained it, it makes sense. But
Yeah.
yeah, that wouldn't be my first
Now that was
thought.
like 6 years ago. I can't speak for now.
Right.
But I've talked to some of my buddies. It doesn't
Yeah.
sound like it's got much better.
Oh, no.
But but yeah,
Now, how long
Yeah.
were you there?
a little over 4 years.
Okay. And were you only patrol? Did you move around? Did you have another unit?
Yeah, so I was on patrol the whole time, and then we had like a part-time SWAT team. I was on that, and then I was a field trainer, and then like a patrol tech.
Okay. All right.
So yeah.
And then SWAT. How did you get interested in that? Were you selected? Did you get to try it out one day and you were interested?
I just think it's something I've always liked. Probably going back to the military time. Sorry, and yeah.
Okay.
So they had openings come up, so I tried out and made it. It was nice.
How did you like it?
I liked it. Yeah.
More so than patrol, or was it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's always a lot more fun than patrol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was 4 years total there. Mm-hmm. And how did you end up, I guess, leaving there, or was that just your own choice? You and your wife maybe making that decision, like what?
Yeah. So I think I was kind of like, I kind of saw the writing on the wall. Like, man, like we got to get out of here. Like I said, I used to come out here to visit a friend about once a year. So I kind of got kind of familiar with the DFW area. Mm-hmm. And then he started sending me, he sent me the grant. I tested with another agency first. It was a little weird. So I removed myself from that. And then it was like 2 weeks later, he sent me the flyer for Grand Prairie.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll try that out. And then, but like in my mind, I'm thinking like North Carolina,
Yeah.
where I'm like traumatized from like applying all these places
Yes.
and never getting anywhere. I was like, all right, fine, I'll try it. We'll see what happens. And then it was just like boom, 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 boom. So it worked out great.
Now, how long in between the time frame of you had the friend, you spoke to him, okay, Grand Prairie looked like that this is going to be where you're going to be. Was it a really fast move? You and your wife had to hurry up and get here? How was that transitioning wise state?
I think so. I came out. I think they had 2 testings for my academy. I came out to the first one. So I'm guessing it was probably summertime. It was summertime because it was hot. I remember that.
Oh,
Yeah, because
Texas heat.
I wasn't used to that. Yeah.
Really? I would think Florida that maybe that wasn't.
Yeah, but then like
Okay.
I hadn't lived in Florida
climate,
for
yeah, your
15
body.
years. Yeah, I was used to like colder weather and stuff.
Right.
Because I remember in the PT test, after the test, we went out to the track and did the PT test, and I remember getting a little lightheaded.
Whoa.
I was like, don't fall out. If you fall out, like they're gonna take you out of the process or something, So I'm all like,
No.
I'm like taking a knee, trying to look normal. Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you that are not located here within this region or maybe just a different climate, try your best to prepare as much as you can. But we just learned something from Chancey that we can maybe fake our way through it,
You can.
Act like that you're
Just
blending
tough
in.
your way
You're
through it.
tough
That's
your
all
way.
it
You're
is.
gonna
Yep.
strength. You're gonna press on. And look, he's here. He made
I'm
it through.
here. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, like I said, I think I went through the first testing in the summer. And then, it went quick. I had old Slater. He's retired
Oh,
now.
really?
Rip Slater. I like him. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And how many, I guess, were a part of your class since you would have been a lateral?
So we started with 9.
Okay. You said started.
We're down to 4.
You're down to 4.
but it's a solid 4.
Okay,
Yeah.
well that is what counts.
Yeah.
You're solid.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so you did that would have been 2009 that the change happened officially? Or what year?
2019.
Oh, 19. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yep.
Okay. And you've just been here ever since? Mm-hmm. Okay. And walk us through maybe the difference. So did you have to do patrol here for a certain amount of time as well?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how long did you?
So I was on patrol till about a year and a half ago when I got on the bike unit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about patrol here, and especially considering that you're lateral. What was that like here at Grand Prairie?
Oh man. I mean, obviously being a lateral helps. Also being like I came from an agency that had a very high call volume, so that really didn't bother me at all. I know some guys come from smaller agencies where they're just not used to it. Like we were just call to call, so like that really didn't bother me. Reports wasn't an issue. I think it was just getting used to the culture is a big thing. I kind of started understanding like, okay, like every state has their own culture.
Yeah.
And then within the state, your regions, your departments. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing. And then like a lot of just the like legal processes, even just the arrest process out here was like so much different.
Wow.
So it was like I had to get used to that. A lot easier.
Yeah.
I liked it. But just something to get used to.
Yeah.
All the different paperwork and stuff like that.
And what are some things, or maybe even who helped you throughout that? Those are a lot of adjustments, a lot of transition. So how were you able to do
just
all
the guys
of
I
those?
worked with, the more senior guys I worked with, they're always really cool. Like I worked nights B most of the time, which I loved. And that was a solid group of guys. So you got a question, you just go to them, and they were always cool. Yeah, man, you should do this or that, or so yeah.
Were there ever certain calls that you went on that patrol-wise that you were like, I was not expecting that in comparison to your previous agency? Or was it kind of just,
I think it's mostly the same.
Okay.
Pursuits were different, so we couldn't pursue at my old agency.
Really?
We could for violent felonies, which means you
Okay.
never pursued. I was there for 4 years, and we had like one pursuit.
Really?
So that was something I had to get used to.
Okay.
Would you kind of look like you kind of feel like a fool sometimes, you know, because like all these guys growing up in Grand Prairie that started here, like they're used to it, you know, and then you're coming in as like a lateral, and you're just like, I don't, like, what is this? Yeah, and they're probably looking at you like, what do you mean, you idiot? Like it's a pursuit, you know.
Oh, wow.
So just getting used to some of those stuff.
Did you ever have any like hesitation moments, or you just went
No.
straight to it once you got used? Okay.
Yeah, it was fine. It was just something different, something to get used to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, since I'm from the world of victim services, we have victim services here. Did you all have something like that? Like something where those victims of crimes are getting, I don't know, either interaction or finding out resources in their community, or like
We may have. I know a lot of the sources we had were actually like outside sources. So yeah, I know going back, I said we didn't have any homeless resources that I'm aware of. We did have some like mental health resources, but they're all like outside agencies, and they weren't really that good.
Okay.
Like I remember one time we had this. It was like the weirdest call I've ever been on. It's not that weird, but it's just weird.
Oh, I was gonna say, you said weird. Tell us if you can.
I was back home, and a lady called. They're in the grocery store. Ingalls. Anybody will know Ingalls if they're from Western North Carolina. And her son, she had an adult autistic son, like nonverbal. So she was, had custody and stuff. And they were like in the checkout line, and you know how they have like the tiles?
Yeah.
And he got like stuck in a tile. That's the only way I can describe it.
What?
Like he couldn't move out of the tile. And it was just, that's what I'm saying. It was just weird. Like I've never come across anything like that. And so she's finally at her wit's end. So she calls the police just for help, And she was a nice lady, nice family, And so we show up. And I'm like, man, like I don't know,
Stuck.
So we had our that mental health unit come out, and they show up, and they just spend time writing down all their info, this or that, ask her all the questions we've already asked, and they're like, well, we can't really do anything, so we're just gonna leave. And I'm like, wow, thanks. Thanks for nothing. Yeah, totally different. Not like here.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it was just weird, and I told Leigh, I'm like, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So she had to we were there for I think 3 hours.
Really?
But it was nice because we knew the manager from like shoplifting calls and stuff like that. So I talked to the manager, let her know what's going on and everything. They were cool with it. And then they had to wait till his brother got home from work because I guess he was real close to his brother. But they lived down in Old Fort, which is down the mountain. So they had to wait for the brother to get home, drive all the way up there, and then we had to stage the car at the exit. And then his brother came in, and he had to kind of it was weird. He had to prod him. He's like, "Come on, let's go."
Yeah.
Almost hype him up.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just clicked, and they're gone. And they're going through. They're like, "We're going to the door." But he had a Dr. Pepper that he'd been drinking. And then the mom's like, "Oh wait, we got to pay for the Dr. Pepper." And I'm like, "Go, go!" I'll pay for the Dr. Pepper.
I will pay for that.
And that was weird.
Wow.
But that was a good difference too of services there versus services here. It's much different. That would never happen here.
Not at all.
We would get results here.
Yes.
So
bye.
Yeah.
You all figure this out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, but you all did figure it out.
Yeah, kind of. We just waited it out, kind of.
What was he doing during that time when he was waiting?
He was just standing there.
Just standing?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that would be different. Awesome resources here. Did you hear that again? See, we're making some really awesome plugs here for GPPD. Come here. You got support. You mental health. Hey, we got a crisis support unit. You know, homeless. Oh, yes, we have that too. We have so many different things here.
Doing work.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, so you did patrol here. Were you already thinking that, okay, I'm going to want to be a part of another unit? Were you already thinking that for Grand Prairie, or are you just kind of
Not really.
waiting?
Typically in law enforcement, it seems like, you can either do patrol or you can do CID. That's kind of your two major things at a medium department, and I've just never had the thought to go to CID. I don't know what it is about it. I like what they do and I'm glad they do it, but I don't know. I don't have the brain capacity to do that. So that was never my thing. So yeah, it kind of got to a point, I got on SWAT here. I did 2 years here.
Okay.
But yeah, I was kind of where do I go? What do I do? And then I always kind of knew about the bike unit here. But to be honest, we had a bike unit at my old department, but they were kind of mixed in with because we had a downtown unit. But I don't know. Nobody really liked them that much kind of thing. It's kind of it wasn't that they didn't like them. It was just they had a really crappy job.
Oh.
Let's put it that way. Because they had to wrangle all the homeless downtown.
All the nuisance
But there's
type
no...
things.
Yeah, there weren't the laws out here where we can actually do things. So it's they kind of had their hands tied. It was just kind of a mess. Nobody really wanted to do it. So the view of the bike unit wasn't all that great for me, at least. So coming out here, I was like, okay, well, it's cool, whatever. And then kind of over time, it kind of developed. I was like, man, it's kind of cool, what they're doing and stuff. And I was like, geez, I always rode a bike as a kid, and I mountain bike in my spare time and stuff.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, so I was like, man, I could get paid to ride a bike.
Yeah.
So it finally opened up, which it doesn't open up a lot. So yeah, and that's when I got on.
Oh, now what was that process like going from there to the bike unit?
So you got to do, you got to do a PT test and an oral board. And then once you get on, you got to go through the bike school. So if you're not already bike certified, which I was not, so I just went through the bike school.
Okay, I didn't know that. There's a certification.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Now, so since that time, you've been bike unit. Okay. Do you feel like you're going to remain in the bike unit?
I'll stay here for as long as they let me.
You did say during homeschooling you were riding bikes up and down.
Yep. Yeah.
You get paid to ride a bike.
I do get paid. That's why I tell all the guys.
You do more than just ride a bike.
We do. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what are some things that you all advantages that the bike unit has as opposed to, of course, our other units out there with patrol? Or what are some?
We're able to basically just. You can kind of. I found it's a lot harder. You can cruise parking lots in a squad, but it's a lot more inconvenient to be getting out and talking to people and checking on people in their cars. Or on a bike, you're just cruising around. You can ride right up to cars, talk to people, see what's going on. We go to the mall a lot. We ride through the mall. I'm just in an outlet mall.
Yeah.
I think we're able to do things that you can't traditionally do in a squad, or you could, but it take more time and more effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. And are people pretty receptive as far as talking and interacting with you? Okay. Do you ever have to correct anyone that you are a police officer?
Sometimes.
Like, is that ever a...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, because of the neighborhood I grew up in, when people would see an officer on a bike, people would just assume this is a security guard. This is not a police officer.
Not a lot, but we do get it sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. We had that the other day riding through an apartment complex.
What was it like? What happened?
He's just like, are you security or police? I was like, man, I'm police. It says it right there.
Do you see this? Yes.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
usually a joke thing. You laugh about it. It's not a big deal.
Okay. Now, what's your PT like? Since you're a part of, I feel like you're doing PT all the time because you're part of the bike unit. Is there anything different that you all have to do?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, we have the PT test, but that's really just to get onto the unit.
Okay.
We always have PT in the morning for us, which is nice. And then obviously the riding. Yeah.
Now, I've heard about some type of difficult turn that you all have to either learn how to do or you have to do it.
The box.
What is that?
The box.
Can you please explain what this and why it is so difficult?
It's pretty simple. It's just kind of difficult at first. Everyone does it, but it's just a 9x9 box.
Okay.
There's cones all the way around it. So at let's say at one corner you'll have two openings. So you have like an opening here and an opening here. So you have to come in from this way. You have to do 3 loops, come out, and then come in the other opening, and then do 3 loops the opposite way and come out. And it's just you're basically, it's 9x9 sounds like a lot, but when you have a 6-foot long bike, it's kind of, your bike's kind of doing this. So it's just getting used to, because that's really all we do. Like, people are like, oh, we're riding around freaking, what's the old TV show? I think it was Pacific Blue or something like that back in the day, which I watched as a kid. Yeah. It's not a lot of high-speed stuff. Like, all we're riding slow through parking lots. That's it. So you have to be able to navigate at slow speeds, doing sharp turns, basically, whether you're going between cars, around obstacles, you're riding through the mall, so obviously we don't want to be hitting people.
Right.
So that's what most of the testing in the bike school is just slow movements and being able to control your bike and stay upright and not fall. So that's really all this is. It's super slow. There's a couple techniques. Usually we tell the guys how to do it, and that helps a lot. So once they get that going. But yeah, it usually takes guys about, I'd say a good, on average, maybe 2 days to finally get it.
Okay.
But there's always that gnawing in the back of your mind, like, I got to do this. And the bike school's only 4 or 5 days, and you're trying to do other stuff too in the meantime. So it's always kind of that's the thing that always gets people.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Have there ever been any type of like close calls with cars either not seeing you or the whole blind spot? Does that happen with you all, or?
Not too much.
Okay.
We try to stay we don't ride on roads that much. So we're usually in parking lots, which honestly parking lots can be a little more sketchy because people are backing out, pulling in.
Yeah.
And they're not looking for bikes either. They're looking for cars. Understandably, if you're at the mall, you're not looking for a bicycle coming behind you, But yeah, I've never really had a close call. I don't think anyone really has. There's a couple of times people might back up, but again, it goes back to that you're doing everything slow and methodical and you're aware of your surroundings. So it's usually it's like we see it way before they see it.
Yeah.
And we're going 1 mile an hour. So it's pretty easy to just stop or avoid it or something like that. Yeah. I have personally never been hit by a car. Well, I got hit by a car when I was a kid.
Okay. I was like, workers' comp, what's about to happen? What's about to happen?
Not on the job, though.
Okay.
So,
okay. Now, I've also seen where you all, it's something community-wise, you all give out bikes.
Yes.
Okay.
So that happened before I was on the unit, so I don't know all the particulars, and I can't.
I was like, is that because the holidays are coming up? Is that something that?
But yeah, I think it was like 2 summers ago. They put it all together. 2 or 3 summers ago, and they put together a big. They got with some nonprofit group that gives away bikes.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty big deal. They had it over here at the Epic, and they gave away I don't know how many bikes. It was a lot of bikes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a pretty cool event.
Oh, awesome! Yeah. Now, do you all as a unit, ever talk about ideas, community engagement, things that do involve either health, wellness, bike, like anything like that is happening?
Sometimes we get involved in that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. We used to be a little more involved years past. I think we've had a little bit of a mission change.
Yeah.
So we're a little more back to enforcement.
Yeah.
But yeah, we still like a lot of events. We'll go to the events. We're kind of so it's kind of fun because we can be the enforcement side, and then we can also from time to time we're that public,
Yeah.
you know, in the eyes of the public side. So
Yeah,
it's
I
fun.
like
It's
that.
fun being able to get to do both things.
And then when I'm thinking, I'm a civilian, so to be able to interact with an officer and just kind of engage them and talk with them is really cool. And I have to go into the police department in order to talk with them.
And it's always more fun with us because we have bicycles
Right.
and people don't expect that, and kids like it and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, awesome. Now, what kind of things do you enjoy outside of this? I mean, this is an awesome place. However, you have a life, you have
I
a
do
wife,
have a life.
you're a dad. So,
Yeah.
what are some other things that you
Yeah.
enjoy and that you like?
Yeah, I think that's a big part too. Is like, man, some of these guys it's like, dude, get out of the job. Like, go
Yes.
enjoy life. Stop working.
Yes.
Step. Like, go live your life. Yeah.
Have non-cop friends.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Regular friends.
Yes. Yeah. Bring you back to reality. 'Cause
Yes.
the world is not that bad.
No,
we
it's
just
not.
deal with that 1% that's
Right.
bad, and sometimes we have a hard time seeing outside of that.
Yeah.
If the world was that bad, society wouldn't function.
Very
But it
true.
does function.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But back to your question. Yeah, I don't know. I try to get outdoors a lot. It's a little harder here in Texas.
Yeah.
It's a lot hotter.
You have to look at the weather.
I'm not in the mountains anymore. Yeah. Or I got to drive 4 hours north to get in the mountains. But yeah, I try to get outdoors a lot. Like I said, I used to do more mountain biking, not as much anymore. But yeah, hiking, camping.
Yeah.
I do scale models.
Really?
Yeah. That's
How
kinda
did
my
you get
little
into
nerd thing.
that? Scale models?
Yeah.
Like, do you have a full out room? Like, whoa.
I got the whole shebang.
Do you make videos and like?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I do have like an Instagram page for just my models. but
Really?
yeah.
And these are just your own leisure. Do you sell them? Do you go to competitions? This
No.
is just
My own thing.
interesting.
It's very calming. It's very chill. Like, it has nothing to do with
No.
anything police related, which is nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I used to do them like as a kid. I'd
Okay.
build models. Like, I would say a normal kid. I don't think kids build models anymore. But back then they built more models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not on the phone. Like,
Yeah. And then a couple years ago I got back into it, and then I kind of just went full bore into it.
Now, what are your, like, the type of models that you do? Do you have a specific kind? Do you just kind of mix it up? Do you only focus on one?
So I do like, I'm gonna nerd out here.
Okay.
So
Go
I
ahead
do
and
I
nerd
do
out.
more like kit bashing and scratch building, which is like subcategories. So like.
Okay, you
like-
said subcategories.
So
is
like you have your
definitely-
scale models, right? You have your
Okay.
scale models. You go to the store, you buy a model kit, right?
Okay.
You put it together.
Yes.
So then you have all these like different categories underneath it. Like kit bashing is basically like you take previous model kits. Let's say you have 5 model kits, and then you basically create your own model with
Oh.
those bits. And then you have like scratch building, where it's like you're literally building your own model from scratch. So like you're using like styrene and all these
Okay.
other bits, which that usually kind of eventually evolves into kit bashing because you're using other bits. People call like trash bashing, where they literally use like, you could have like an old water bottle and you make a spaceship out of it or something like that. Something
Yeah.
random.
Wow.
But yeah, that's kind of usually what I do.
Yeah.
I usually get pretty bored if I try to build an actual model with
Right.
instructions. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do this
Yeah.
anymore.
Now, does
So,
the
yeah.
family get in on this? Is this something just for you?
My daughter got into it.
Okay.
Yeah. She doesn't do that. She does the actual model, so she'll build a lot of like Bandai
Yeah.
Gundam model kits.
Yeah.
So she likes that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
is
Look at you.
nice.
You're passing on
Yep.
the interest.
And then she'll get bored with it, and then she'll give it to me so I can like take it all apart
Right,
and
here you
use
go,
the
Dad.
bits. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty fun.
Awesome. That's cool. Now, here, I just culturally, because since you mentioned things from out of state, I'm curious, since we brought up like mental health. Here, do you see, as far as that, taking care of yourself and talking about how we're doing and being okay with mentioning our feelings, did you see that before at like your other department or even out of state or even during your military time?
Yeah.
Like, is that something that...
Military, definitely not. I think that was more in the time of like,
Right.
Yeah.
On to the next.
Yeah,
Bury it deep down. Keep
if
it
you
there.
want to get, if you want to get a profile or get flagged and make your life even worse, no. And I think at my old agency, I just think nationwide it wasn't really a thing yet.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was on them or anything like that. And I trash talk a little bit. They've gotten a lot better. They got a new chief who's freaking awesome. So yeah, things are a lot better there.
That's
just
good.
Years ago,
Yes.
I had some issues, and that was just me. That was just my opinion.
Right. We don't want anyone doing research off of this and then going back to that and I need to go and talk about it.
I think it's a pretty cool department now. Okay. But I think the whole mental health thing, I mean, I feel like that was more of like a 2020 thing kind of thing. 2019, 2020 thing.
Yeah.
So I was kind of already out here when that happened. So I can't really speak to elsewhere.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's kind of a national trend.
Yes, for sure. It's like hot buzzword. What's happening in mental health.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, can you look back over just kind of going throughout your life from childhood to now here? Is there something, if you could go back and say something to your young self, what would it have been?
I would say, make smarter decisions. Don't give in to peer pressure because you have a whole life ahead of yourself that depends on, some possible very small, stupid decisions that could affect your career. That's what I would say.
That's good. That's good. And then for those that are interested in law enforcement, maybe kind of on the fence, or maybe they don't live here in Texas, what are just some things that you could maybe encourage some people with, or just, some things that they should know or even be prepared about?
Man, I would say just like go on ride-outs with your local agency. Okay. I think that's the best way to probably see what's going on. Because I know here they're pretty strict with like going ride-outs. You have to stay in the squad and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like back home, like you came on a ride-out, you were getting out of the squad and coming in and stuff like that. So you were really getting the full show.
For sure, for sure.
So I don't know how other agencies are, but
I did a ride out in Colorado for Colorado Springs Police Department, and I was just like, wait, what? Wait. And he was going over the guns, and I'm like, wait, what? If something happens to you, I need to be, what? And I have to sign paperwork.
Here, you got to press this button here, get the rifle out here.
What? Yeah. Okay. All right. Our first call was, of course, a domestic call. Got to the domestic call. I was like, wait, I have to go in there too? I was here just for... All right, and he was like, no, you coming too? I was like,
so they had you all coming in.
Oh, for sure. And it was at that moment that I knew I was supposed to do victim services and not become a police officer. But I'm thankful for the ride out because I was able to really see, is this for me? But I'm here to support, but I want to run away from the danger, not to. Yeah. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure having you here. Is there anything else that you would like to share before we leave?
No. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. And, Nate and, Katie is not here, but I feel like we pulled it off.
Yeah.
I feel like this was a great podcast, a great episode. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you.
Until next time, everyone.